Welcome to Beaded Doilies by Shell. In this video we are continuing my faceted bead art gift tag project with the 1 needle stitch. I will be using about 4 feet of string. In the last video I showed you how to start by going through the top bead of your current row. This time I'm going to show you going through the side bead. Now when you go through the side bead, you want to make sure it's the one right next to the top bead, and you want to go down towards the top bead. Then bring out about 3 or 4 inches, and then you'll secure your string. So you will use the previous row string to go through there. Alright. And as we actually used the previous row for securing the finished, I'm going to also go one more over for securing this string. So we will go over one more. So we'll go through the center bead of this row here, and then we will weave our way going up at least 3 more center beads. So that's one, and the side bead, and another center bead, then the side bead, and our 3rd center bead. And now we head back the direction we came from. And as we're back where we started, we can now clip off the excess. There we go. And now our string is on the same side as our finished rows. So we will add in this direction 1, 2, and we need a green and a red. So we need a green, followed by a red. Now we want to go through our top bead and our side bead. And now we want to be coming out the top, so we will go through the first bead we just added. And now as our string is coming away from our finished rows, we will now add, this direction. So we've added these, and our next 2, 1, 2, are both red. So we will take 2 red beads. And we will go through the side bead and then our current top bead. And now we want to get to the top, so we'll go through both beads we just added. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we will also go through the next side bead. And as we're coming out on the side of our current rows, we will add in this direction. And both of these will be green. So we go through our top bead and our side bead. And then we want to be coming out our top bead, new top bead. So we will go through the first bead we just added. And our string is coming away from our finished rows. So we will add in this direction. And we will be adding 2 green beads. And we want to go through our side bead and our current top bead. Then we want to go through the 2 beads we just added to bring us to the top of our new top bead. And as our string is coming in towards our finished rows, we will also go through the next side bead. Alright. And as we are coming out the side bead on our finished rows, we're going to add in this direction. And they will both be green. And now we will go through our top bead of our current row and our side bead. And now we're at the end of our row, and this is the reason I actually showed you how to attach by the side, is because if you watched the last video, when we got to this point we were actually coming out of the bead over the center bead coming out away from our finished rows. But this time we are on the side of our finished rows, so we want to get to this second bead here. So what we're going to have to do is weave our way around and through this second circle so that we're coming out here. So we want to weave through the circle we're in, which will go through the top bead, the outer side bead, the next center bead, the inner side bead of our second circle, then the center bead coming out away from our finished rows, and then we want to come up towards our or going through the second side bead, which is where we want to be to begin our next row. And as we are coming up towards the end of our row, we're going to add the next 3 beads in this order. And that'll be 2 greens and a red. So we'll go through our side bead again, the same direction as we went through it the first time. And now we want to go through this 3 beads we just added, so we're in our top bead to continue our row. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we'll also go through the next side bead. Now as our string is coming out on the side of our finished rows, we will add the next 2 in this order. So we need a green followed by a red. And we'll go through the top bead, current top bead, and the side bead that is part of this circle we're doing. And then we will go through the new top bead. And as our string is coming away from our finished rows, we will add the next 2 in this order. And they are both red. Now we'll go through our side bead and our current top bead, which is the bead our string is coming out of. Then we want to work our way to the new top bead, so we want to go through both beads we just added. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we want to go through our next side bead. Alright, and our next set will be added in this order. And they will both be green. We want to go through our current top bead and our side bead. Then we want to go through our new top bead. That has our string coming away from our finished rows. So we will add the next set in this order. And they will both be green. Go through the side bead and the current top bead. Then we will go through the 2 beads we just added so that we're at the top of our row. And as we're coming in towards the finished rows, we will also go through the next side bead. And our next set will be added in this direction. And so that will be a green and a red. Seem to have gotten a little bit of marker on me. Alright, so we'll go through our current top bead and our side bead. we'll go through our new top bead. Now our string is coming away from our finished rows, and we're adding the last 3 for this row, so we are going to add them in this order. So that will be a red and then 2 green. And we'll go through the top bead, which is the bead our string is coming out of. And we want to be coming throughout this side bead so that we can start our next row. And now, because we are coming down towards the end of our pattern, we'll actually be able to add these 4 beads on. So we'll add 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means, where is it? We added these 3. We're going to add the top 2 of the 4, so that's 2 reds, and then the bottom 2 of the 4, which is 2 greens. We want 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll add 2 reds and 2 greens. And we'll let them come down. And of the 4 beads we just added, we want to go through the first one again in the same direction towards the other 3 that we added. And then we want to bring that circle down to rest next to our previous row, like this. Now our string is coming out away from our previous row, so we're going to add the next 2 beads in this order. And they'll both be green. And now we want to carefully make sure that our 4 beads are on the end. Then we want the side bead, which is the last side bead of our previous row. I'm going to go through it. Get my string through it. I'm going to do each one separately so you can see where you are and where you're going. Pull all this together. So we want to go through. So we went through the side bead of our previous row, and we want to now go through the top bead here. And we want to go through the 2 beads we just added so that we're coming out the end of our current row, or top of our current row. And as we are coming in towards our previous rows, we want to go through the next side bead. And there we have our first 2 circles added for this row. And as we're coming from the previous rows, we want to add the next 2 beads in this order. And that will be a red and a green. Go through our current top bead and our side bead. Then we'll go through our new top bead. And our string is coming away from our finished rows. So we'll add in this order. So we need a red followed by a green. And we will go through our side bead and the current top bead. And then we want to work our way to the top, so we'll go through the 2 beads we just added. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we'll also go through the side bead. There we are. And as we are coming out through on the side of our finished rows, we're going to add in this order. And our 2 beads will be green. Go through the top bead of our current row and the side bead, and then we go through the new top bead, and our string will be coming away from our finished rows. So we'll add in this order. And we need a green followed by a red. We'll go through our side bead and the current top bead. Then we'll go through the 2 we just added to get to the new top bead. And as we're on the side of our finished rows, we will go through the next side bead. And then we'll add our last 2 beads in this order. And both will be green. Go through the current top bead. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, oh, you know, I think I did that last one more difficult. I think I had you go up through the side bead, but actually you don't need to. You just need to go down through the side bead of the previous circle. And then out and up through the second side bead, and then you are ready for your next row. Sorry about taking you a more complicated way last time. This one is much more easier. So when you're coming in with your last 2 beads, you want to just go down and come up rather than go around and around. Much easier. Alright, now our string is coming up towards the end of our row, finished row, so we're going to add in this direction. So we've added these two, and our next 3 beads are going to be all green. And we will go through the side bead our string is coming out of. Make sure to go in the same direction as you previously threaded through it. And now we want to go through the 3 beads we just added, so we're in our new top bead for this new row. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we will also go through the next side bead. And we are now ready for the next 2 beads. And as we're on the side of our finish, we're going to add them in this order. And we're going to need a red followed by a green. We go through the current top bead, our side bead, and then we go through the new top bead, and our string is coming away from our finished rows. So we will add in this order. And they will both be green. Now we want to go through our side bead towards our top bead, and then we want to go through our current top bead, and then we want to go through the 2 we just added, so we are coming through our new top bead. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we also go through the next side bead. And as we're on the side of our finished rows, we will add in this direction. And they'll both be green. We go through our top bead of the current row and our side bead. Current row. And then we go through our new top bead. And our string is coming away from our finished rows. So we will add in this direction. And they will both be red. Now we want to go through our side bead and our current top bead. Then we want to go through both beads we just added to get to the top bead again, or the new top bead. And as we're coming in towards our finished rows, we go through the next side bead. And as we're on the side of our finished rows, we will add in this order. And let's see, they will both be green. And you will go through your top bead and side bead. Then you'll go through your new top bead. And we're ready to add the last 3 beads for this row. Oops, sorry. Marking the wrong spot. And as we're coming away from our finished rows, we are going to add them in this order. So they will all 3 be green. We'll go through our top bead, which is the bead our string is coming out of. And then we want to be on the side where we're going to add our new row, so we want to just go through the one side bead. And now, because we are coming down to the end of our pattern, we are going to add again the 4 beads together, doing the first 2 and then the bottom 2. And these will be all green. So we're going to add 4 green beads. Oops. Then we'll go through the first one again in the same direction we went through it the first time. And there's our first 4 beads for this row. And we are coming away from our finished rows. So our next set will be added in this order. And that will be both will be green. And we go through our side bead and our current top bead. And we'll bring all this nice and snug. And then we'll go through the 2 beads we just added. And as we're coming in towards our finished row, we'll go through the next side bead. And there we have our first 2 circles for this row. As we're on the side of our finished, we will add in this order. And these will both be green. And as I do need to get going to do something, I am going to go ahead and secure my string. So I will do it in the row next to, or the previous row. So we'll go through a center bead here, and then we'll weave up through 3 center beads. So we'll go through side, center, side, center, side, center, and then we will weave back where we started. And we're back where we began, so now we can clip off the excess. And then we will continue our piece in the next video. Hope to see you there.